Namaskar.
Namaskar.
You are
You are
watching
watching.
Governance News TV, and we are going to discuss today media, nationalism, and religion, and why just we have chosen this subject due to just to see how the media is going to be derailed in Bharat and other parts of the world also. If you see the future of religious nationalism and the media, we can understand how this media focuses about the religion and some parts of the cultural nationalism that is taken up many forms, and some parts of the Hindu nationalist perspective. Some parts is a different way. If you talk the religious nationalism, that is a different part. But we are talking about media, religion, and nationalism. We can mix or not. We can discuss or not the relationship of nationalism to a particular religion, belief, dogma, affiliation. The relationship can be broken into two aspects: the politicization of religion and the influence of religion on politics that reported by the media. On the for in the former aspect, the shared religion can be seen to contribute to a sense of national unity, common bond among the citizens of nation. Another political aspect of religion is the support of national identity, similar to share the ethnicity, language, and culture. The influence of religion and politics is more ideological, and that's also showing on the impact on the media. When the current interpretation of religious ideas inspire political activism and action, for example, laws are passed to foster a stricter religious adherence. Ideologically driven religious nationalism may not be necessarily be targeted against other religion per se, but can be articulated in response to modernity and the particular secular nationalism. That the secular world, I think, according to the culture, according to nature of the
Of the
Bharat,
Bharat,
that's the
that's the
fruits,
fruits.
according to the
According to the
constitution.
constitution.
Indeed,
Indeed,
religious
religious
nationalism may
nationalism may
articulate itself as a binary of the secular nationalism, nation states whose borders are relatively recent or have experienced colonialism, maybe more prone to religious nationalism, which may stand as a more authentic or traditional rendering of identity. Thus, there was a global rise of religious nationalism in the wake of end of the Cold War and also post-colonial politics, facing the considerable developmental challenges, but also dealing with the reality of the colonially defined and therefore somewhat artificial borders become challenged in such a scenario, appealing to a national sense of Islamic identity. In the case of Pakistan, the two nations theory, and Indonesia may serve for override religions. If you see, if you talk like that, how the not in Bharat, other country also just trying to use the religious identity and religious, I think, platform to woo the voters with the help of media. If you see the country like the Turkey, Latin America, Western Europe, and post-Soviet states, everywhere you can find. For instance, 2018 Costa Rican presidential runoff election, voters for evangelical populist candidate Fabricio Alvarado reportedly rallied behind the mantra that if a man of God can't govern us, then nobody can. In the recent successful bid for the Brazilian presidency, right-wing populist candidate Jair Bolsonaro similarly campaigned on the slogan, Brazil before everything and God above all. In Indonesia, meanwhile, Islamic nationalists allied with anti-Chinese xenophobes and the economic nationalists to oust Jakarta's Christian governor Basuki, just name it, Basuki Tahaza Purnama, and convict him in blasphemy charges. There is so many examples. Just I'm giving you how the politician using the religion with the help of media. When religious nationalist movement exhibit considerable variation, they appear to share many common attributes. First, most religious nationalist parties possess a theoretical streak and colors their electoral platforms and subsequent methods of governance with a moral cadence. Second, in many countries, religious nationalists are moral appeals and rhetoric to advocate for economic austerity or draconian anti-corruption measures. And third, religious politics often betray a majoritarian nationalism which seeks to redefine the basis of national identity in a manner that excludes or marginalizes religious minority. In Bharat, we have been seeing in the case, commonly religion and politics are hardly noble. With the help of media, the mixing first began with the state patronage uh, by the tradition. We can say the state backing religion ensured the clerical leader of with the child and the state and Bharat earliest state formations, Rajas like that, the wielded political power, but reliant on the legislation, the Brahmins, priestly caste, when the compensated with the guarantee of safety and material resources, and so many things uh, we can see it and discuss it. So we are going to discuss here how the religion, media, and nationalism and politics is going to be affect our society. What is use of media, what is use of religion, and what is use of how just mix with the uh, nationalism. Professor Vai Sarkar with us. Just uh, Shivaji, just you can share with your views and experiences how media affect the religion, how religion affects media, and for the nationalism. And also
And
welcome
also
again
welcome
to
again
our
to
listeners.
the
Shivaji,
Shivaji.
Okay. Yes.
just my
Just
question, my question
my
to
question
you:
to you, how
how media
media
affected by
affected by
religion,
religion,
how
how
religion is
religion
affecting
is
the
affecting
media,
the media,
and how
and
just they protect nationalism or
or
not.
not.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
Yes, I don't believe that media is influenced by the religion. If it is an objective media, it is not. And even I have seen in the case of, say, the Pakistan also, I've seen the media is quite vibrant there. They're not, when the media discusses issues, they discuss issues in the social perspective and mostly the whether it is especially Dawn, of course, is a very different kind of a classical newspaper, and there are other houses also. Even in Pakistan, I find the media remains quite vibrant. In case of India, largely I find that the media doesn't take a religious line, but there are some differences. Of course, I would point out there are some newspapers, magazines, or feature agencies which are sponsored or virtually run by certain organizations who adhere to certain particular religious views. Some Hindus, but there are fewer. There are some Christian news agencies or news feature agencies. They follow they toe a particular line, and they're supposed to toe that line. That is how they have been built. And there are a few which comes out in Urdu. Largely, I found even the Urdu newspapers like Qawmi Awaz, they have been very objective. But there are few who take a particular slant, which is of course not the usual slant that we like, anybody likes it. So that happens like that. But largely, if you take the overall media as such, across the country, if you take a newspaper, they may have a regional slant, that's a different issue. If in Delhi they have another kind of regional slant, which we call national sometimes, but national papers are in Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, Calcutta, everywhere there is a national paper. That is also true. The other aspect is you're talking of nationalism. You see, media largely anywhere is national, and we have done studies in the Institute of Mass Communication during the Kargil conflict, and we found that each journalist or newspapers belonging to a particular nation like UK, they will toe the, at that point of time, they towed the confused British line. The American papers are towing the Indian line. But again, they're towing the Indian line because America is towing Indian line during the Kargil conflict. There were there was Dawn from Pakistan. We found they have taken a very classical aspect of covering the journalism, the developments, and covering the briefings of Indian and Pakistani governments from their respective Pakistani agencies, if it is from Pakistan, Indian agencies or Indian correspondent they have from them. So there are newspapers who can't just make I don't think it can be just you paint everyone with one brush. But there is, of course, one thing that we noticed, that each journalist belonging to a particular country toes the line of that country or the government of that country, you can say. So it is largely a nationalist line. It's largely a nationalist line that is there. And that nationalist line differs from country to country. So when it comes to media tries to maintain, as far as I have observed, unless it has a very vested interest, which in some cases, some stray cases they take a very extreme line, but largely they do not do. Especially we found, I think the worst in that case was some of our Indian newspapers who had virtually blurred the official line and the journalistic line, and they had created confusion there. So it happens. So nationalism is, for in media, is now suppose you as a journalist, you go to UK to converse, cover some incident or event, you will cover it from Indian perspective. Similarly, a British correspondent will cover it from his British perspective, which we sometimes we do not like.
But
So that happens.
Shivadi, if you think like that, perspective made the nationalism.
Yes.
That is one
That is
point.
one point.
Other
Other way,
how does the media affected by the religion, and how it just also on the just to going to impact on the nationalist theory. Vandanaji, how just you analyze the theory of this religion and nationalism affected by the media, affected for the media?
Namaskar and good morning.
yes.
We are
We are
Ram Janmabhoomi incident, whatever happened, particularly
Okay.
from 86 onwards,
I just think Vandanaji and then Shivaji.
Shivadi.
Namaskar. As we are getting into the new Hindu year 2079, so I would like to wish everybody Nutan Varsh Sanatan Abhinandan. And you picked up a subject like which we the people hold either a microphone or a pen and claim ourselves to be media fraternity. See, nation as an individual, when I was studying journalism, what it was like, what I'm seeing, I must say that. It is not the other way around. What I'm saying, you must see that. So over a period of time, we are seeing it like a pattern. Shivaji did bring something about the Kargil, We saw the damage has been, how it happened. We saw what damage was done for 26/11 by some media personalities, like, which is shameful, which is very, very shameful. Like, if we call it as a pillar of democracy, because there is an oath of allegiance that we take to our profession, are we living up to it? That is a big question. See, in a nation which is a secular nation, like any other, means things are happening, we do have a responsibility to bring it out openly who did what. I'm going to quote an example. Like earlier, here I'm living in the Western world. Uh, there used to be, if there is some untoward incident or episode which has happened, like, they used to give the names of the culprits, those who've been responsible for that. So it used to show you what religion they come from or what faith they come from, very clear, like, in most of the cases, if I'm using my right name. But now it has become a trend. They will say person of one faith or one ek dharm ke log. So why? Means, like, that is also not fair. Means, I mean, I have got the name, I should be speaking out the name. So that kind of guidelines, if there has been some means, so that is wrong, because it gives you, as we say, the religion of terror. Oh, there is no, but why all terrorists are from one religion, to be honest? You know So, as in media, are we doing our job right? To an extent, like, as we were mentioning, I was from almost 1 month trying to look for a news what's happening in Bharat, to be honest. I'm trying to log into each and every channels, flipping my hand on a remote, but I'm just seeing there nobody is in India right now. They're all talking about what's happening across, like, in the Ukraine, Russia. That's not right journalism, to be honest. You have to balance it out in the news, because sometimes uh, and I always say, the bigger, means, when it was COVID, you are talking only about COVID. But there are other things happening too. So, positivity, which is the development, the infrastructure, the growth, like, are we covering those kind of aspects? Are we bringing this out? That should not be the responsibility of a political party before the election. We did this. If on a timely basis we are aware of it, this particular road has been built and this is how it was before, so that should also be there. And one thing I'm going to conclude with this: I know media needs money to run. So there should be a difference between a publishing and an editing. If it is compromised, so then, and that is what is happening in today's time. Thank you.
Okay. Just according to your view, Vandana ji, just you said it about the media, nationalism, and the religion. Just to welcome Rakesh Tiwari ji from Canada. Just the time of break, and after break, I'll just take the view of Rakesh Tiwari ji. Welcome to break. Just we're discussing the role of the media, this media, religion, and nationalism in society, how the media works, how the religion works, and how just you establish our nationalism. So, Rakesh Tiwari ji, how just you analyze the three factors in our life, in our global society?
Thank you so much for having me.
A little loudly, please, Tiwari ji.
Okay, I will speak louder. Am I okay now?
More louder, please.
Okay, I will try my level best. Am I better?
Yeah, that's better than before.
Okay, so let's talk. As you brought the question, so thank you so much for having me here. You brought a subject which is each subject needs, can take hours. Religion itself, media itself, nationalism itself, but you brought it together. But anyhow, in my own humble understanding, media is called the fourth pillar of the
Little
democracy.
loud, please. Little
Okay,
louder, please, Tiwari.
okay. I will speak. Is it okay now?
Now better, better. Yeah,
Okay.
not good.
Okay. I will repeat my thoughts. My thoughts are this: that media, which is called the fourth pillar of democracy, uh, is mostly attacked by everywhere else. I will say that religious people, they also target media. I will say the so-called media is on target of everybody. While media, it is a lot has been expected from the media, but media has been left vulnerable. I miss this alone subjects is such a serious issue where journalists are getting less paid. Media, big corporates, they are entering in the media house. They are dictating the terms the way they want to. They are dictating all those things. You can say that the choosing of the subjects, direction, narratives, everything. That's a whole total different subjects. So independent media, which is small, such as you, such as where I'm studying here in the media, when we talk about it, we have a major and huge responsibility, and we are trying our level best without any support. Okay, be it this government, that government, be it in Canada, be it in Bharat, smaller media which does responsibly its job, but it doesn't get support. When the time comes about the nationalism, this small media does its best, echoes the sentiment of nationalism. When the Kashmir files issue came, is the smaller media which raised the issue. Bigger corporation and media, they come later. And sadly, this is small media. I'm using the word small media means the journalists who have devoted their life, and when they feel totally suppressed in the respective media houses, and afterwards they try to do their own job and they try somehow. So I will say in this today's era in 2022, the most vulnerable part of the democracy is the media. You mentioned about the religion. Uh, Religion in general, you can say all the religions are there: organized religion, unorganized religion. Uh, Organized religions such as Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, even I will go Jainism and Buddhism to the some extent. Uh, in my humble understanding, Hinduism is the most unorganized religion where everybody is prophet. They means there's no clear cut directions. Directions are there, but nobody is there to follow. So if you have four Shankaracharyas, where is they have their own views, which was respected at that time, that one voice of the Hinduism can come, that will be from the Shankaracharyas. Every priest itself is a prophet. They will profess, they will say, and all those things. But coming back to on the issue of religion, again I will interlink with the media. Media is doing the job by digging out the text, the I will say the shastras, the holy books, and the real context of it. When we bring the debate and discussion, we are media people, we are not God, but we try to analyze, we try to make bring the rationality and the real meaning of the religion. So when we bring something, when we dig out something, oh, Chanakya has said this, or Manu Smriti has said this, or in Ramayana this has been said. So then we change, we create the narratives as we are doing
Okay,
it
you
now.
just Tiwari, you are talking about the narratives and creating narratives, and you quoted the example of the Kashmir files. Shivaji Sarkar, do you think the media in Bharat are so nationalist that they should be? Shivaji, do you hear me?
Yes. What
Do
is
you
your
think
question?
the my question is, do you think the media in Bharat are so nationalist as they should be?
Now you see, you have to slightly change your question. What do you mean by nationalist? Media per se, I believe. Just in my first discussion, I told you the media largely adheres to the national ethos of any country. So by that, if you take that as the base, uh, then any Indian media is nationalist. There may be a small aberration somewhere, but that largely is not reflected in the mainstream media. No, there may be a particular kind of a media perhaps which is taking a very extreme line. I don't want to name, but there are some who do that, and they will take everything, they will cover everything from a very, you can say, from the point of view of a particular religion, slanting their stories like that, and that happens. That happens with many others also. So I told you, in Kerala, there are some newspapers which is funded by Syrian Christians.
There are so
So
many
in
media houses funded
somewhere,
by the so many
no, I'm
institutions
telling you, largely
in Bharat also.
largely in their
Some Muslim
general
organizations, some
coverage that
Christian
is not
organizations, they are
reflected.
just funding.
You see, in largely in their general coverage, I've seen it is not reflected that aspect of Syrian Christianism also. But in certain aspects, when it comes to their own community, they possibly try to play it up more. They possibly try to give, even within those communities, you see, there are various kinds of groups. So they will try to prop up the groups that they are closer to. This happens. But largely, if you see the mainstream media, as far as it is concerned, no, it doesn't cover the religion like that. Yes, if there are certain religious events or religio-political events, then they will go with the threadbare into it. For who are for the event, who are against the event,
But Shivaji, my
who
question is,
acted in a popular manner, who didn't act in a popular manner. Like I can tell you, 1990, if you take Ayodhya Kar Seva, Mulayam Singh's Samajwadi Party was in power, and they declared almost a state-wide curfew. No train was stopping anywhere in the state. Despite that, lakhs of people reached there on foot. Mulayam Singh's government opened fire on the car sevaks. That was, they lathi charged them. So the media took the excesses committed by that government as improper, and they covered it. I won't say it was the coverage, and across the spectrum you will find people from the north, people from the south, people from the east or west. They covered the event as an excess by a government on some peaceful demonstrators.
but
So
on the
if you
other
try
way,
to mix it up with
Shivaji,
religion there, I don't think that would be correct there. But
okay.
the
So,
way
so
Mulayam Singh government
my question was
behaved,
Shivaji,
that was
Shivaji, my
certainly not
question was different.
acceptable, and that
Shivaji,
later was given
my question
by a
was different.
particular group was given a religious color, and that changed the entire Indian political narrative.
No, that
So
was a different issue. But I
how
am
it
talking
happens,
here.
when it
I know
happens, is a very different issue.
I'm talking, Vandana ji, I'm talking here, whatever Shivaji saying, that matter of narratives, how the car sevak was just killed and sued by the Mulayam Singh government, that is a different issue, different example. But nowadays, if you see the Bharatiya media, how the some channels, how they propagate the Ukraine Russian war, what is need for the country, although Russian diplomats are coming and the talking is going on Ukraine, and US role is there and UK role is there, all countries have different role. But what is need of the Bharatiya media just to highlighting with the special team to just cover the Ukraine war? What nonsense! What is
Just
used for in the name of nationalism?
Rakesh ji, with the permission of
Namaste.
Vandana ji, I will just say one line in it. I believe Indians, as a viewer, largely are not interested that much in seeing day to day, hour to hour, or minute to minute developments in Ukraine. But I believe some television channels, particularly, are giving very wide coverage there. They have put up their correspondents in Ukraine and all that. But I believe it is a kind of a PR activity, and possibly for that kind
Sir,
of a
that is
PR
my question.
activity and
That's
the
why
expenses,
you can say
expenses
like
for
the
those
PR
channels
activity,
are being
but
paid by
why?
someone. That's all.
Why? What for? Vandana ji, why and what for? Why PR activity for any countries? This is role of media or not?
Namaste again.
Please.
See, the news channels, I think there is the balance is totally disbalanced, to be honest.
Yeah.
You cannot. I just said that, and I'm saying it again. From last, like almost that it's been more than a month, we surf the channel. Is there anything happening? And I was on a lot of channels debates, somebody's largest, somebody's biggest, somebody this thing. I've shared the footage. And going on there, I've just told them right there, I cannot understand because everybody tries to follow the West. But here, the Indian media is going overboard, even because we are looking for local, because somebody who is in Uttar Pradesh, they should be knowing what's happening in their state. They should be knowing what's happening in their neighboring states. They should be knowing what's happening in their nation. And then international news, I'm not denying that, but not that you are 24 by 7 making a mockery of it. बंकर से बोल रहा हूँ
Yeah.
मैं बंकर से बोल रहा हूँ. What is that going on? I can understand there was Operation Ganga with 29 flights, special flights, which brought 20,000 plus Indian students. You could have talked about that. Like, this is what India has
Yeah.
done it.
That was
Like,
a sensible act. That is by
so
the government.
that is the balance. Things are happening. You can have like a 1 hour special every day on that to make it as a
That's
global
okay.
news.
That's okay.
But like bringing so many specialists, Indian armed force specialists, defense specialists, media persons, common man, we people sitting in America, because what is the Biden's role in this? I cannot understand what is there in for them, to be honest. I am still not able to understand. Means there are certain things that you say that I'm confused because, and then I'm just going to share again. This is not that he said or she said. This has happened with me in person. Someone, I'm not going to name the channel. This guy calls me, ma'am, can you give me Jet Tarar's number? I said, why do you need his number? Oh, because he's been coming on that channel. So we need to have him with us. Is this kind of competition like, they are, because one started it and the other follows and the whole team is there, like so there
Yeah,
was a
mostly
meme.
like that. Yeah.
There was a mimic somebody made for President Putin. Oh, I'm trying to see where is Zelensky hiding, so I'm watching the Indian news because they'll be able to give me that kind of coverage. May not be even there that extensive within their own nation the way we have done it. And there are so many issues within the nation, and thank God that we could get to see the coverage of the election of the 5 states, and that too only for that particular period. They just parenthesis blocked the time and they talked about it, and after that there is no, normally they have so much analysis about it. Isko itna vote mila, isko kyun mila, ye wo koi baat zaruri nahi hai, because all the defense experts are there. So that's kind of, it's I'm going to say it's
Yeah.
a very irresponsible and immature on part of like
Yeah.
because this is the first time that they are getting an opportunity to cover the global news, and they are taking my muscle is bigger than your muscle. That should not be, because we should be doing it our own way, to be honest. Thank you. Over to you.
Okay.
One thing,
Thank you.
Rakesh, here I would like to say again a small intervention. During this period, I have been seeing many Al Jazeera, Deutsche Welle, BBC, and French TV particularly. I found none of them were creating the kind of hysteria, the noise and shouting that Indian television channels were doing. I fail
That's
to
a point.
understand.
That's a point,
But their
Tiwari.
coverage was very balanced, very appropriate, discussions very focused. And even here, I must say, some of the so-called army experts, they didn't know anything about Ukraine, but they were definitely speaking out on it.
They don't even know the Indian side like that. So Rakesh Tiwari ji, just how just you see, I'm just comparatively just I can ask you the comparative study of the how you just see the Kannada media, just comparative to Bharat media, just how just to comparative in the name of nationalism or religion, how they report, how just you comparatively just see.
Let me say, Kumarakesh ji, that Western media, I'm not here to praise them, but they have, the population is matured. People are expecting some things from them, and if the channels are, you can say, media houses, if they go, out of track, then the people punish them according to themselves, however they fit it suitable. They will not, their rating will go down because people want good quality. Definitely, I'm agreeing with Shivaji Sarkarji that the hysteria which is created, which Indian media, Indian, I will say that, Bharati not, because the Bharat is missing a lot of places, Indian, and they call themselves to India. So their perspective, the way, means, if everything goes according to them, this world should have been done by now. Means we all should have been finished by now. Right now, I was just watching, and that they don't know that the kind of flashing they will put it on the TV channel, that it will give. They should put. I will say, if I have any power, I'll go to the CGI Ramanna, to another court, that they should put that, please do not watch TV news, that it might create stress, anxiety, heart attack, blood pressure, all those things, because this is the way they put it. And so-called the channels, means, you can say the editors guild or whatever, they do, those platforms are available, they don't even bother to, because they're all mixed up with each other.
Yes.
Means each media channel, I'm not here to criticize them in that way, but is a fact. Each channel is trying to show that they are the one who is real, for real people. Real people, you have to go to the real people.
Everyone, Tiwari ji, you are right.
Yeah.
Everyone claiming they are number one, but but for what
They
they are
are cut
number
off
one,
from the,
they
let
don't
me
know.
say, this, they are cut off from the local public. What people are thinking, they are creating. Yes, no
You are
doubt
right.
about it, I totally agree with this, that Rus and Ukraine war is a serious issue, which is happening. The, you can say that the expenditure, I will say that the price rise, gas price rise, everywhere commodities prices are rising. People are concerned, people are getting affected, but giving a right direction is much better. I have no idea, some, like, what and why they are doing it, and that is really, it came up to that extent, I will say. It came up to that several head of states, even Russian, this is my understanding of the same media, that said that, please, the Indian media is going out of way. They are reporting the way they want to. Sometimes they will create, means they
So
can
so so
create,
so
they will
so
make a
Tiwari,
monster. Yeah.
yeah, you're right, Tiwari. Actually, whatever media, the role of media, and how they're reporting the religion, how they're reporting the nation, with the just adoption policy of the
They have no
nationalism.
control, they have no accountability. Let me say this. They have no
Sir, that,
accountability. They
that,
can
that no,
say,
there's there why that's why we are discussing here. There should be some accountability. As I have seen the foreign media, at least they are not the against the nation. Ultimately, whatever they discussed within the nation, but they are
of
not
course.
going to against the nation, against their sole leaders on the national policy. So as far as concerned with our Bharatiya media, they should understand the sensitivity of religion as well as the nationalism. Then they can balance and should reporting for the interest of nation. So nice of you just to participate in the show. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.